We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. One conversation at a time. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. One conversation at a time.
The Breaking Bread Village.
One conversation at a time.
The Breaking Bread Village.
One conversation at a time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Breaking Bread Village. I'm so excited to have this conversation today. We do have Mr. Martin with us today, and I'm going to go ahead and just bring him on so he can introduce himself.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, greetings.
Appreciate you for having me on this amazing show.
Thank you. Just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, just kind of your background.
Okay, well, my name is actually Carlos Martin. I'm a SAG actor and a director, so I go by King Jacquel Martin now. I used to be a former soldier, and I went through a crazy event, or, sometimes God takes you through the right things to put you right where you need to be. And so now I am an actor, I'm a director, and I'm an author, and I like to do motivational speaking.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're going to talk about all your creative work here in a second, but I really want to talk about, some history that you have with a certain officer. And the reason why is because we've really been talking about this whole defunding the police, right? Or police reform. And this has been a topic of conversation here recently because of some current events that have taken place. With that said, I have found that we keep having the same conversations, right? We keep having, or we see, certain officers that have had the same type of instances with people, and then they just kind of get shifted around. And I know a lot of people remember the video of the young girl who was in her desk, and Officer Fields basically body slammed her while in the desk still and drug her across the classroom. And, a lot of times you see these things and it's like, well, wow, did this just happen? Does he have a history of this? And then doing a little research, I see that he did have some history with that, with you. So I want you to kind of tell me your story in regards to, what happened the day that you had that, incident with Officer Fields.
Okay. Before I dive into that story, you mentioned something that this continues to happen. My story is nothing new. I hate to say it that way because I'm not the first, nor am I the last, as we see, because it's still happening to this present day.
Sure.
We have to realize that the police badge was birthed from the slave patrol. The slave patrol and the police badge is actually pretty much the same exact thing. So how do you root racism out of something where it was born from? They were designed to hunt Black people. So the only difference is today is that people are forced to sit home because of COVID. Now, COVID is a curse and a blessing because most of the time when these things happen, our other colors from the crayon box would believe that this wouldn't be true. But now that they're forced to sit home and actually see the reality of these things taking place that's been happening for over 400, 500 years, they can no longer deny that this is a reality of being born Black as a Black male, and especially a Black woman. Because, for me, I feel like we have to do a better job standing up for Breonna Taylor and all the Black women that go through this experience. We just can't be irate when it's a Black male, but we have to do a way better job, especially for the Black woman's experience through all of this as well.
Yes, I agree.
So let's go into my story.
And just what the first part that you said, I was speaking with someone else about that the other day, how, when people really do, if they really dig deep and understand where the police force did start, that is true. I mean, and people don't really know that sometimes or don't want to acknowledge it, but that's definitely where it kind of stemmed from and was birthed out of. So with that said, when something is ingrained in the whole structure of something, how do you change it?
Not only here's a different concept. How can you protect us if you fear us? How do we ever have a fair shot? Like, being Black in America, it led me to a couple of things, right? So I created this movie called The Evolution of Slavery. because we think that we're free, but slavery's just evolved and it's dressed up and masked differently based on the systemic racism that has happened. History books have been rewritten and stories have been told differently because most people don't know about the Tulsa Massacre or the Oklahoma bombing or Redwood or Emmett Till's whole story. I mean, there's so many countless stories that has happened to our people. And I'm just baffled when people say, never forget the Holocaust, which you shouldn't. Never forget 9/11, which you shouldn't. But forget about slavery. And I don't understand that. Why would you want us to forget how you have raped, beaten, destroyed? You came up with black code, Jim Crow laws, redlining, systemic racism. You haven't forgot because you have been able to benefit from all of these things based off of someone else's history. And you were never, people who say black, here's another one, okay, 3/5 of a man. But I hate when people say black on black crime, right?
Yes.
Because it's always highlighted as if black people are only killing black people. No, you have white on white crime. You have Asian on Asian, Mexican on Mexican, Chinese on Chinese, whatever race you want to have. Every race has that within that race. But can you please tell me when someone else has said the term white on white crime? Or any race on race crime. Why is it only black people's crimes that's highlighted? Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have accountability for that.
Sure.
Because we definitely should. But at the same time, when you have scientists that have proven things like the fight or flight syndrome, when you put people in a certain environment with less resources to struggle to survive, it will create chaos and it will create what you have today with black on black crime. Black on black crime was created for the lack of resources that you have given to black people because most every other race, if I'm not mistaken, received reparations. They received land, they received grants, they received all these different benefits to create a friendlier environment for them to live in. So, I mean, it was designed specifically for the black community to have to struggle, to have to be put in positions where how do you destroy the black family? You remove the husband, you rape the women, you take the children away, you make black women breastfeed white children, you know what I mean? And it's been systemized for, the system is flawless. And here's another lie that they've been telling us. And I don't care who gets mad at me because I defended the flag. I put my life on the line for this country.
Sure.
Is the flag a lie? Because the flag claims to represent freedom, liberty, justice for all.
Right.
It includes black people. But I can tell you right now, America, we ain't never been free. We ain't never had no liberty. Breonna Taylor, and look at this system, we sure ain't getting no justice. So sometimes I feel as if Muhammad Ali might have been right by not wanting to put his life on the line to go fight because the people that they want, Muhammad Ali said, they've never called me nigger. They've never disrespected my family. And you want me to go fight someone who's never done anything to me. Now, for me, differently, I was raised in a military family.
Okay.
So from my perspective, I put my life on the line, not for a flag, but for what I thought the flag represented. And here's my thing. I was always taught, you shouldn't complain about a problem if you're not going to do anything about it.
Right.
If you're not going to come up with solutions, then you shouldn't complain about what's going on. So I felt like me putting my life on the line for the flag was me trying to come up with a solution to fight racism.
Within it. Right. I get that. I can understand that.
To protect our country, to protect our values. Now, what is really interesting, right? As a police officer, your job is to protect the community. Your job says to protect and serve. Well, as a soldier, our job is to protect and serve the country on a different level because we're going to foreign lands fighting. So we're technically doing the exact same thing, just on different levels, right? But as a soldier, if I go outside of my training and I break the Geneva Convention Code, I can be looked at as a traitor, a terrorist, committing treason on all these different things, right? So as a police officer, if you do not follow your training, you are no longer a police officer. You're a bully, you're a murderer, you're everything, all the above outside of that badge. But when you're an officer, the badge, they follow by a different code of laws that protect them. Normal people don't get that type of protection. Because if me and you go out on the street and do something wrong, we're going to face time for that crime. I just feel like that if that playing field was equal, then I don't think you would have the same amount of killings that you have. I think accountability goes a long way. And there are some amazing cops out there. There are some amazing white people out there. So I don't want people to get the misconception, black versus white, because Harriet Tubman never freed the slaves by herself. Black people didn't free the slaves. You know, Martin Luther King on Selma didn't march by himself. We had all come together. Every single color of the rainbow came together to make a difference. And that's how we are able to change. But the reason why we haven't made this change is because the same people of position are in power. No laws have been changed. We have done surface level things and we have never addressed the root. So if we're a gardener, right? And we have this garden that we have to take care of. And we allowed this seed of racism to be planted so long ago, but we don't go in and we don't pull up the roots. You know, we don't pull up the weeds. We don't change the fertilizer. We don't water everything correctly. Then what else do you expect to happen? We are only reaping the harvest of what was planted so long ago in America. And call me crazy. I think white America knows just as well, right? Let's use one of my heroes, Colin Kaepernick, right? Cap took a knee and everybody went crazy and said, oh, he's disrespecting the flag. But taking a knee has always been a sign of respect.
That's what I've always asked that question. Where did it change? When did it change? Because in regards to, you know, I remember growing up, I would always see people, you know, even in church or, you know, different institutions, you would get on your knee and that was a sign of, you know, showing reference. So, yeah, I never understood that.
Well, not only did he do that, he got with a soldier and talked about how can I do this without being disrespectful.
Yes.
But when you get into an argument with a person, you have to change the narrative or you have to use emotions so you never address the issue at hand. So what America did was, we don't want to address racism, so we're going to change the narrative and we're going to pitch it about making it about the national anthem. Well, if you do the history of the national anthem has always been racist. If you want to do the history about the NFL used the national anthem and patriotism as a marketing employee to make more money, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about the dollar. And here's how I'm going to prove that. After Colin Kaepernick got kicked out the NFL for taking a knee, Donald Trump had said something about the NFL and telling people not to watch the NFL, blase this, blah, blah, that. He called NFL players kind of a bitches and all this, excuse my language, you know, and all these things, right?
That's what he said,
So when he said that and that affected the NFL's pocket, what did the owners do? Because one of the owners came out and said, you can't let the inmates run the prison, right? The next year, every single white owner and player got down on the same knee that Colin Kaepernick took, locked arms in solidarity to protect the shield. My question is, when did the shield become more important than the human race? So we can protect the NFL logo, but we can't protect the human race.
Exactly.
Because you wouldn't have an NFL if it wasn't for humans. So I don't understand the misconception of let's protect the logo that humans created, but we don't want to protect the players, which are predominantly black in the league. And so when you have celebrities like LeBron James who steps out and says, shut up and dribble. Really? And then people are like, well, why is LeBron James complaining? He's a millionaire. Well, okay. I never knew that $1 million changed your skin color. Right. When LeBron James moved to LA, didn't they spray paint his home and write nigger all over his house and things like that?
Exactly.
Money doesn't change the fear of being black in America at all.
Yep. Very true. Very true. No, I appreciate what you're saying. What you're saying. No, it's the truth. I mean, there's so much I can unpack there, but yes, I agree what you're saying. So, wow, because so much is going through my mind because it's so true and there's so much to unpack, like I said, because it's this double standard, it's this hypocrisy, it's a lot of forgotten memory, it's a lot of stuff that happens when it comes to us. So yes, I want you to tell me your story, please.
Okay. And shout out to the millenniums. Shout out to white people who are out there taking a stand for all the right reasons. I just want to let you know, and any other race, you know what I mean? Just not black and white, but any other race. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys for taking the time to try to understand. Okay, so here's my story. I was stationed in Landstuhl, Germany, and me and my wife got the orders to come to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. When we were in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, I played semi-pro football in the neighborhood. And so I used to take all the women and children, you know, to the flag, to my semi-pro football games. They would hold the down markers. I was really popular in my neighborhood or whatever else. So on this specific day of October 24th, 2005, it's crazy that I still remember like it was yesterday, I was doing a Class A inspection for one of my soldiers, UFC Carlisle. A Class A inspection is when you check on their uniform to make sure all their awards are right, their suit, and they look dressed, and they look appropriate for celebration, right? Or the award ceremony, should I say. Okay. So I live maybe 2-3 miles away from base. Okay. So when you leave Fort Jackson, you cross a bridge. You can see the Walmart to the left, and there's Percival Road on the right. You turn down Percival Road, and Quail Run Apartments are on the left. So normal day coming home from work. And as I'm driving through the gates, most apartment complexes are shaped like a big square or rectangle. You would say? So I'm following it. I come in my apartment complex and I see a police officer in front of me, who happened to be the same police officer who beat the young lady up at Spring Valley High School, right? And the reason why he was at Spring Valley High School was because he wrongfully beat me and my ex-wife up in my military uniform in front of my home. So let's get to how that happened. He's in the neighborhood. He was supposedly out there looking for a white male flashing little kids.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so he's doing his patrol. I'm driving behind him. He makes a left turn and he starts going down towards the park, and my apartment is on the left. So parking lots are shaped like rectangles. He turns into the parking lot first. I turn into the parking lot right behind him. Eventually we become parallel, and I acknowledge him like a cowboy tips his hat. We just nod our head like, "What's up? How you doing?"
And that says a lot. Yes.
In his police report, he wrote that he felt like I was teasing him by bobbing my head. That's his perspective. That's not for me to try to say whatever he felt. It's what it is, what it is.
Yeah.
So I go into my parking spot. I get out my car. I walk to the door. Mind you, I have a police officer because it was like a fourplex, right?
Sure.
I have a police officer that lives above me, a black female cop, and her mother. The police officer wasn't home, but her mother was home. Okay. And the same way we are catching things on camera right now, cameras weren't really big in 2005. It was more like pictures, flip phones, those type of things. I said that because God puts people in place for the right reasons at the right time.
At the right time. That's the truth. I've seen it.
Right. I didn't know the police officer's mother was there. I wasn't paying any attention to that. It was just a regular day of me coming home. So I get out my car. I walk to the door. I put the keys in the door. As I'm putting the keys in the door, I hear a car peel over. So natural instincts, you're going to turn around to want to know what's going on in your neighborhood.
Sure.
Now, if I would have just went in the house and closed the door, this probably never would have happened, But I turn around and I see an officer running towards me. And he said, hey, you, come here. I said, who, me? He said, yeah, you, come here. He said, I'm out here for a noise violation. Mind you, I just got home.
Right.
So there's no way it could have been me. So I said, well, it couldn't have been me, sir. I just got home. Plus, I have an officer who lives above me, so I know not to blast my music.
Right.
And he asked me for my license and registration. So I hand him my documents. Now, I hand him a paper document, which is still an official license, but it's not the regular one with the picture because I lost that in Germany.
Where you were serving. Yes.
Yes. So DMV was I was a resident of Alaska at the time because I graduated high school out of Bartlett High School in Alaska. So I was waiting for Alaska to send me an updated copy of my driver's license. So I handed the young man the piece of paper. He said, "What the hell is this?" And I said, "Dude, if you would just calm down, I lost my license and DMV is gonna, you will not address me as dude. I'm a Richland County officer of the law." Okay, well, you address me by hey you. He was like, "Well, that's because I don't know your name." Well, hell, I don't know your name either.
Right, exactly.
You know, bam, slams me on the ground. Bow, 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 starts wailing on me, right? The police officer's mother runs downstairs to get.
Now, I just want to add, you were in your uniform, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I was in my military uniform.
Yeah, go ahead.
You'll see that, on my book cover. You'll see that in my short film that I have coming out next month because I turned it into a short film. To tackle this issue. But yes, ma'am, I was absolutely in my military uniform when this happened to me. And the crazy thing about it is I can't believe that I put my life on the line for a country, and when I get back home, there's nobody here to protect me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not the first person to face this because you got the Tuskegee Airmen, the Buffalo Soldiers. You have so many veterans that come back to nothing. No disrespect, America, but can you tell me one war that you won without Black people in it? That part.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So he's punching me, and now what's so crazy is I have a document, right? An internal affairs document that I'll share with you, give to you so that people can see for themselves. And so he's making all these racial comments that he was bold enough to admit to that he didn't even try to deny.
Wow.
How nothing but another Black statistic, how he's going to ruin my career, how he's glad Johnny Cochran is dead. He says
gracious.
Just racial things while he's punching me and everything else. So my ex, she comes outside and she is in straight panic mode, rightfully so, because she sees this man on top of me beating me. And as a husband, you want to be able to protect your wife, right? So I'm telling her, stay back, because I don't want anything to happen to her. So she runs back in the house to grab her cell phone to take pictures of it. This is when we had the flip phones. For the millennials, y'all might know what flip phones is, but the razors and stuff like that.
Right.
Videos wasn't pictures. So she was taking pictures of this whole situation, right? And so when I told her I'm okay, regardless to what this man is doing to me, he takes out a can of mace. And he uses the whole can of mace on me. So what I do is I follow my military training. He has one arm cupped behind my back. I take my other arm, I hold onto my shirt, my BDU jacket, and I bury my eyes in my arm right here like this. Because I didn't react like the normal civilian would, who's never been through an Army basic training or the gas chamber. He assumed that I was on drugs and became violent. So he asked me if I was on drugs. He started kneeing me in my stomach, hitting me even more violently. And so all the women and children of the neighborhood came out because, they knew who I was. Oh my God, Carlos is getting beat up by the police. Help, help, help. So you have women and children watching this whole scenario. The officer looks up, sees that he's caught, sees that his picture is being taken, and he panics. He gets on the radio. Help, help, 1032, officer in distress, whatever the code was, right? Now, I understand why all the other officers arrive the way that they arrive.
Right.
But in your training, when you arrive to a situation, you're supposed to evaluate the situation, to see the threat of the situation, to know how much force you're supposed to use. So my ex at the time was taking pictures. He said, "Get her, black ass. She has pictures of me." So Deputy Joseph Clark runs up on my ex, slams her into a car, puts her hands up behind her head. She drops the cell phone, handcuffs her. Now she's detained, right? You would say this would be detained. A female, no threat to you, handcuffed, arms behind her back. That wasn't enough. He picks her up by the back of her arms and body slams her into the ground face first. Now as a husband, one is a black man, okay, beat me, but don't touch her. To not be able to protect her and watch her be beaten, sexually harassed in your face, and there's nothing you can do about it, that's worse than you being beaten yourself. So they called for EMS to come. The police officer, so EMS shows up, and I tell them that I don't want them to touch us at all. Don't touch her. Don't touch me. We want to get all this documented. We don't want y'all to try to clean up nothing that y'all did to us, right? And so the black officer shows up, and I'm like, Officer Coins, can you please get the cell phone? Deputy Fields runs over there and grabs the cell phone. He goes through the pictures. You can have your cell phone back if you delete the pictures. Hell no, I'm not deleting anything. That's our evidence.
Right.
So he takes the cell phone and goes back to Deputy Clark. Excuse me, Officer Fields takes the cell phone and goes back to Deputy Clark. And when he goes through the cell phone, they start deleting pictures.
Oh, wow.
They only keep 2 pictures that only make the officer look as if he was doing the right thing. All the body cams was off, supposedly. The car cam, because police cars have the dash cam, didn't work either. So out of all these police cars that showed up, no dash cam works, no body cam works, no evidence of anything except for the pictures that we took that you deleted. Right. So when EMS showed up, like, we should have known it was goddamn Officer Fields, as if he had a history, and that's how we found out his name.
Oh, that's what the EMS workers said?
Yeah.
Oh.
So crazy, right?
Yeah.
So they call the paddy wagon to come pick us up. So they put me in the paddy wagon, and then I get in first, and then they put my ex in the paddy wagon, and they say that they're going to take her to the hotel. Now, down south, when you get arrested by the police, they take you out to the woods, they shoot you, they kill some, not all. I'm just saying how sometimes some things go. So please don't sit up here and try to make it seem like, oh, he's talking about all officers. My cousin is a SWAT. I have family members that are on the police force. I might not agree with everything, but we still believe in protecting the country. So please don't try to manipulate something to what it's not. Because not every officer is a bad officer, but you do have bad officers, period.
Yeah. Yes.
Just like you have bad people in every race.
Right.
Not just black community, in every race.
Right.
Okay. So they tell her about the hotel line. The officer in the paddy wagon heard that and wrote a statement about how wrong that comment was. So I tell the officer what happens. Like I said, sometimes God just blesses you with the right people. So that officer wrote a statement. They take us downtown. We get booked. While we're booked, I'm walking in my military uniform in the jail cell. And people are looking like, what the hell? Soldiers are getting arrested?
Right.
We know we ain't got no chance, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm sitting there with her, and I'm holding her, trying to comfort her. They call us up to fingerprint us and do the mugshot. They lied on my ex's height, weight. So when she went up there they were like, wait, this says you're supposed to be whatever height. She was like, no, I'm not, whatever weight. So what they did was this is the police terminology for it. They tried to throw spaghetti on the wall, which means
throw enough to make it stick.
Which means we're going to throw a whole bunch of charges, and hopefully one of the charges stick.
Right.
Even though we don't have anything on you, maybe we might be able to get something to charge you with. So we got charged with noise violation, disturbance of the peace, and assault on an officer while resisting arrest.
Wow.
None of them stuck because we didn't do any of that. We never threatened the officer.
You had just got home.
Yeah, we never used fighting words. We never swung at the officer. There was never a disturbance of the peace call. He was actually called for a white male flashing with kids. So, but mind you, these are the charges that we're stuck with, right? So I have to sit here and get fingerprinted and mugshot in my military uniform. I ain't never been on stage before, and I'm not gonna try to talk about their experiences because I never want to disrespect what they went through.
Yeah.
But I can never imagine the lowest point of my life being lower than this. Until I had to watch my ex go up there in tears, getting fingerprinted and a mugshot taken. And there's nothing I can do about it except try to call out to God, try to pray to God, try to understand why all of this is happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my ex's aunt was a lawyer, so she was the person that we called, because you get the one phone call, right?
Right.
So we winded up getting out on bail that morning.
Oh, so you had to stay overnight. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I left out one part of the story. When we were on the ground, Jarrell's mother, Miss Sherry Lewis, came out and was like, "Officer, what are you guys doing to them?" And then he was like, "If you don't get your black ass back, you can go to jail with it."
Oh, okay.
He was the young lady who picked us up when we got out on bail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing but God. You know, because I used to take her son to the games, and I used to play with her son in the neighborhood to try to help, youth stay on the right track. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I don't mind to become a devil's workshop, but when you keep kids busy and kids see adults take interest in them, they're able to see things that they're not normally able to see. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So the first place we go to is the hospital, because we want to get everything documented. We want everything shown. We went into the Moncrief Hospital. Now, mind you, we stayed overnight. They used so much mace on me that they made me declothe at the hospital because
it was saturated.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So we had our little cuts, our bruises, and everything else. We got all that done. Then we went straight to internal affairs. When we went to internal affairs, I forgot the young gentleman's name, but I'll get to the internal affairs document. It was so bad when he was asking them the questions. The guy was looking at him like, "Are you serious? Are you sure you really want to say what you're saying?"
Right.
But when you have privilege and you have nothing to fear, then you become so bold with what you're doing, you don't care.
Yep.
And so he was so bold with it. Yeah, I said, "I'm glad Johnny Cochran was dead." Yeah, I said he ain't nothing but another black statistic. Yeah, well, what I meant by hotels, I meant jailhouse. I don't understand how you can use the word hotel when it comes to a woman and how that refers to jail.
Yes.
I don't know where that is in your police training. Now, I've never been a police officer, so maybe they teach police to say those type of things. But for all my good cops who are willing to stand up and speak the truth, you tell me if that's some terminology that you learned during your officer training.
Right.
I could be wrong. I don't know. So please educate me. I'm open.
Educate me too.
So he was so cocky with the verbiage. So we get the documents. I go to my first sergeant and I tell my first sergeant what happened to me. Now, mind you, I just got done winning like Soldier of the Month, Soldier of the Quarter. I was winning trophies in the Army. I was a decorated soldier in the military. My first sergeant was like, he understood where we were in South Carolina and how in certain places, like California is more open. California has its bad things about California, but when it comes to racism and those type of things, they're more open.
They're a little more inclusive, yeah, for sure.
And in certain states like South Carolina, or I don't want to, probably Mississippi, Alabama is more deeply rooted, I would say, in these areas.
Sure. Yeah.
So because my first sergeant understood that this is the same police department that wrongfully arrested Michael Phelps. This is the same police department that did the thing to Mr. Earl Grant and his house wound up getting burned down. This is the same police department with Jesus, help me with this man's name. He just got sent to jail on like 30 counts of fraud. He wound up being the JAG office is the legal office for the military.
You're right.
He was his name was Dan Johnson. Thank you, Jesus. His name was Dan Johnson. He was the solicitor for JAG at on the Army base, and he was the solicitor for Richland County.
Oh,
He just got sent to federal prison for fraud and how, he was the guy over my case. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So he was doing double do it. But you know what I'm saying?
That says a lot.
It comes to the light. And not on your time, but on God's time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that says a lot.
I tell my first sergeant, he's like, "Sergeant Martin, I know you're a good dude. You're good. Don't worry about it. You're okay." So what happened was my first sergeant PTS, which means he came down on orders to go to a new duty station. The new first sergeant comes in, who happens to be a white female.
Okay.
When you are in an industry that's usually dominated by your male counterpart, some people feel as if they have to overdo it to show themselves approved.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to make sure I word that correctly.
No, I get what you're saying.
So, mind you, the rule in America is you're innocent until proven guilty.
That's what they say.
That's what they say, unless you're a minority. In my case, can't say for all cases like this, it happens for all cases, but majority of the time, if you watch the 13th Amendment, you know, the war on drugs, the war on black people, minority.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wind up getting flagged. A flag means basically I can't get promoted anymore. A flag means that I can't do any more boards. I can't play sports. I can't PCS. I can't move up in my career, anything. And I wasn't guilty of anything.
Right.
I wind up getting an Article 15, which means you get punished, and it goes on your record. I had money taken from me. I had to cut grass. I had to do extra duties. I wind up getting kicked out the hospital. I wind up basically becoming the Rodney King of Moncrief Hospital, right? I go out to the NAACP to get help. Now, I'm not saying the NAACP is bad at all, but you have the root of the NAACP, you know what I mean? And then you have branches and divisions of the NAACP.
Right.
So the South Carolina branch was horrible. Because when I went to the NAACP, as you can see, this isn't a white and black thing because I'm calling a spade a spade.
Right.
When I went to the NAACP and I asked for help, the branch in South Carolina said, "How much are you donating?"
Oh, okay.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you, but thank you anyway.
Wow.
I reached out to the Rainbow Push, which is supposed to be Jesse Jackson. I reached out to the ACLU. I reached out to all these different black organizations. Nothing. I wrote the congressman in Alaska, Congressman Don Young.
Okay.
Because the Army was trying to illegally send me to Korea. A soldier can't move when he's flagged. But because I continued to reach out to all these different people, what goes up comes back down the channels. So I'm a medical soldier. I was a 91 Golf, which is a medical records specialist.
Okay.
Right? So throughout this whole process, the more I speak to defend myself, the more the military is getting pissed off at me.
Right, because you're bringing too much attention from one. Yeah.
And so you can't make the military look bad, right? So it took me 4 years to go to court. I went to court in 2009.
Wow. Okay.
This was a 4-year journey just to prove my innocence, right?
And in the meantime, your life is getting dismantled and destroyed. Yeah.
Going through my divorce, we were young, and you divide and conquer, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. She felt like I couldn't protect her. Families arguing over money, different type of things. And don't get me wrong.
You're paying for lawyers and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Her family's amazing. But when you ain't got it, sometimes you just ain't got it. You know what I mean? If you look at the wealth distribution in America, you will see that we are lacking in that situation.
Yeah.
Right. So my mother wound up getting us out. We got this attorney, Mr. John Mobley. We go to court. We're found not guilty on all charges.
Wow. Okay.
The lied so bad that he almost committed perjury on the stand. Judge almost damn near bust out into tears for what happened to us. So the Army's like, oh crap, we done screwed this soldier over. We've denied him surgery. We've done so many wrongful things to him, and he got a big mouth and he can prove it. What are we gonna do? So they decided to put me out. The military tried to put me out on a medical discharge at 0%.
Okay,
which means the Army was nothing.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Like a retirement plan, right?
Sure.
So what I did was I wrote the White House. I sent all my documents that I had, dated, time stamped, everything of what they've done them wrong to me, all my evidence. I made 2 copies. Excuse me, I made 3 copies. I made one for the White House, I made one for the Post General, and I kept one for myself.
Sure.
My mother, who was the first sergeant, lived in Virginia. She was at Fort Lee.
Okay.
My mother winds up moving down. Do y'all know what it's like to go from being married to your mother moving in your house? I love you, Mom. I love you. I love you. Jesus. That was an interesting experience, right? Yeah. Because during this process, I saw all my friends going back to work.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my friends playing sports that I couldn't play no more, and I was like one of the best athletes out there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I rolled over. My wife wasn't next to me.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up in an empty house, or I woke up to my mother. I woke up to not having a job.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up to death threats, all different type of things,
Oh,
right?
you got death threats. Okay. Okay.
I woke up to police officers knocking on my door, you
Mm.
know, all different type of things, right? And so um, I go to the general and I give him the packet. I said, sir, I know you might not know me, but this is your post. I want to let you know up front, I've already sent this packet to the White House, and I'm giving you a packet.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can't say you didn't know.
Right. Right.
Because when everything comes back downhill, they're going to ask you, did you know about it?
Sure.
I'm going to show that I gave you proof of this packet in detail from everything that happened to me and me being found not guilty. Next thing you know, my retirement. Now, mind you, the same people who did my retirement are the same people that I work with in the hospital, because you go through a med board, a medical retirement. I'm a
Okay.
medical soldier. So the same people that I was writing congressionals on are the same people who was over my medical retirement.
Mm.
So that's how I went from 0% to 70% from the general, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Evaluation comes up.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go back to the same people. They dropped me from 70% to 30%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I didn't get my 100% until 2015. And now I'm trying to fight for back pay of my 100% that I should have got in 2009 when it first initially happened. So I'm still fighting that journey, right?
Wow.
Now, my mother, thank you, Mom, for this place. She took me to this place called CEO Space.
What is it called?
CEO Space.
Okay.
You want to check it out for sure. It was ranked #1 in Forbes magazine for the top entrepreneur conference in the world. It was ran by Mr. Bernie Durham, who just passed away. His lovely wife, September Durham, is now running the forum or whatever else. Just an amazing forum. This is where I got to meet people like Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, just some amazing people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I went there with this medical invention that I called Mobile MD. Was working on getting the patent, but hey, patents cost money. We just got done fighting the court case, so I really didn't have it like that. And I walk up to this one white lady walks up to me. Now, in cultures, we do different things.
Sure.
Like sometimes white people like, "Ooh, sister, can I touch your hair?" No, you don't have to touch the hair.
Yeah.
It's just a cultural thing that happens, right? It's kind of funny, right?
Yes.
So this white lady, who I love to death, God rest her soul. Her name was Myrna Grant. Her nickname was Goddess Lahadi.
Okay.
This white lady, I'm in my state of depression because I've lost everything, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
This white lady comes up and walks up and she touches me on my stomach and then she touches me on my forehead out of the blue. And she don't know me from Adam.
Okay.
Exactly that part, that reaction.
Yes, okay.
She said, I'll never forget these words and I'll take it to heaven with me. Baby, you don't know who you are yet, do you? I said, excuse me?
Mm.
She said, you got to give birth to that. I said, ma'am, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I'm not trying to be racist, but you look like you play sports. I said, yes, ma'am, I do. She said, who's your favorite basketball player, baby? I said, Kobe Bryant. God rest in power and love, Mr. Kobe Bryant. And shout out to his beautiful family. She says, tell me about Kobe Bryant. I said, well, ma'am, he went to Laura Marion High School. He won 5 championships. He scored 63 points against Dallas in 3 quarters. He scored 81 points against Toronto. He has 5 championships. She said, oh, baby, you know a lot about Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
What's your stats? I said, ma'am. She said, oh, no, you heard me. What are your stats? So you mean to tell me that the life that God gave you, you're living it worried about what someone else is doing in their life, and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing in your life?
Well, all right.
Oh, my God. She said, look around. And this is for everybody in the audience that's watching this live stream. Everything you see around you is someone else's dream.
That's the
From
truth.
the TV, from the box, from the shoe, the rug, the clothes we got on, the earrings, whatever it is that we online buying, that's someone else's dream. So you mean to tell me that you would rather invest in someone else's dream than invest in your own dream? Why is
Hmm.
their dream more important than your dream? And if you're always participating in everyone else's dream, who's participating in your dream? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part, you hear me?
That's real. Yeah. No, that's real.
Oh, blew my mind. And then she said, baby, do you know the difference between wealthy and rich? She said, wealthy people have multiple streams of income that makes sure that keeps them rich where they don't have to worry about being wealthy. Rich people have to try to stay rich. Middle class will always be middle class because they never seek to be rich. And lower class can't see above a glass of water. So that's why they are where they are. She
Yep.
says, let me tell you something about most wealthy people. Now, I don't want you to be offended. I just want to be able to tell you the truth because I feel like you need it. Most wealthy people look at minorities as no more than the gesture in the king's court
Oh, yes. Hmm.
because you dominate everything that you do, but you own nothing.
Yes.
She says, baby, they've been playing Monopoly for the longest. And if you're always landing on someone else's spot, you're the one who's always paying. Now, Kobe Bryant might be able to leave his children 5 championship rings, but Jerry Buss can leave his children 5 islands, and he ain't made a basket. Who's winning in this equation? The
Yep.
point is to create, to own land, to own natural resources. This is how you have to start structuring your life, because until you start structuring or your people start structuring that, you'll lose. Now, my counter argument after I left this young lady is, well, we did that at one point in time, Black Wall Street, but it got blown up.
Right.
Rose, you
Right.
know, so it's not as if we're not capable of doing it. It's just the
For
simple
sure.
fact of the systematic racism that continues to oppress us where we can't do those things, right?
Right.
So I met with John Leslie, who was Les Brown's son, and he was
Hmm.
listening to the tape of these two speakers. And he talked about an aquarium. And inside the aquarium, they put in rats. And then they poured in water. And they timed it to see how long it was going to take for those rats to drown.
Mm.
And once those rats drowned, they filled it up and they put more rats in the tank. And they wanted to see how long they were going to survive. And so the rats survived longer because of the infrastructure of the rats that died before them. So what they did was they realized that if we continue pouring more water in this tank, these rats will never be able to survive. I hope you get what I'm trying to say when it comes to
Sure.
systemic racism
Oh,
and the
yeah.
oppression that we have against our counterparts that have against us. If we
Yeah.
can keep them emotional, if we can keep them unconscious, if we can keep them in the boiling pot, they will never ever be able to make the changes that we want. And that's why we're in 2020 still marching, still
Yes.
doing the same things. No laws has changed because every time we do it, they change the narrative. Every time
Yeah.
we come together, they race bait or they emotionally charge us through race. All of a sudden, we have all these hangings that are ruled suicides and everything else because now we're so emotionally distracted that we can't continue this pursuit of the goal.
Or they do the other part of it where they put Black Lives Matter on the street and everybody gets excited by that, and that's enough. You know, it is they give you kind of both sides of that where
Yes,
like you
ma'am.
said, they keep you emotional on all sides because when people see Black Lives Matter painted on the street, it's like, oh yes, that's they're acknowledging us and they're blah blah blah. But nothing has really changed, nothing has really helped us. So they keep us emotional on all sides of that.
Okay. Since you went there, can I go there?
Go.
Okay. Now, some people might get mad at me.
That's okay. People get mad at me all the time.
My drill sergeant used to sing a song, and he used to say, some people say freedom is free, but I tend to disagree because the battle that was won was through the barrel of a gun,
Mm.
which means freedom comes with a price. Equality comes with the price. I don't condone the looting and the rioting.
Sure.
People have worked hard to get their shops. People have worked hard to change their lives. But my question to you people is, have you become so comfortable in where you are in life that have we forgotten what other people have sacrificed for you to get there?
Sure.
People have been hung. People have been raped. People got on buses that were blown up. People have lost their lives. People have been beaten. People have went to jail. And not only did they get to go to jail and be beaten, they went out and marched right back out the next day. I got to host this show called Criminalized by Color by the Tribe Family Channel, hosted with Miss Beverly Jackson, right? And one
Okay.
of my guest speakers was Mr. Joseph Jackson Jr. from the Toluga Nine.
Oh, okay.
And for those who don't know the Toluga Nine, it was for the first Black sit-in at the library.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my interview with this amazing man, right, he said that they had to go through their own training.
Right.
Where they got called nigger,
Mm-hmm.
where they got hit, they got waterboarded, they got beat on, and everything else to prepare for the day
was coming. Yep.
that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was 9 of them when they went into this library. He said that he was so nervous when he sat down with his book, he had it upside down.
Mm.
He wasn't even reading the book, y'all. It wasn't even about the book. And
Right.
he said all of a sudden, he went into autopilot. Who was more scared? We both were. Because it was something that the world has never encountered or experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, the reason why I'm telling this story is because you can have a shop all you want. But on the way home, if you get pulled over and you lose your life, how much was that shop worth?
Mm-hmm.
You can have a shop all you want. But if your children can't safely walk to the shop to get to the shop to buy the items in your store, then what does the shop actually really mean?
Exactly.
There are no laws changed. If there is no people in positions of power, if there is no education, if there is no financial education, if there is no change in the seeds or the future, then what does your story mean? And my question was, would you look at your grandmother who got raped and beat and tell her about your story?
Right.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying there's a sacrifice that comes with the equality, and what price are we willing to pay to make it happen?
No, yeah, no. And I mean, and that really goes back to you as, trying to put yourself as a part of the solution by joining the military, serving the country. How did you feel? Because I'm speaking to older gentlemen who served in the Vietnam War. And they talk about, being over there, they really proud to be able to serve their country. And they assumed that when they came back to America, they would be honored just like the other soldiers because they too sacrificed, themselves for this country. And, some of the stories that I've been told, how they were treated and, basically still called niggers and still, just dismissed as if they didn't just sacrifice the same way their white counterparts did. I mean, how did you feel? I mean, you were in your uniform. So the question is, if you, a veteran, can be treated that way in uniform, I mean, someone with a hoodie on, I mean, what hope do they have?
All the hope in the world, because I won't allow no one else to take that from me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I won't allow nobody to take that from me.
Mm-hmm.
That is a gift that God gave me, which is free will.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And if we allow other people to take away hope,
sure,
faith, free will, then we will never win this war anyway.
No, that's true. I mean, did you feel a little disappointed though?
I am rage. I am upset. I have rage. I have hurt. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel bamboozled, right? Mm-hmm. But one thing that I will say that I did get from the military, the military didn't make me more disciplined. I chose to be. Okay. The military, any place can create an opportunity for you if you go after that.
Yeah, I agree.
The one thing that I got from the military that I loved was traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're able to see the world and you go to different countries, you're able to see between the lies of propaganda and the BS that we're fed.
Yeah.
When you're able to go to Spain, Paris, Alaska, Germany, and all these amazing places that the world has to offer, you're able to go past the idiot box that what it tries to teach you.
Yeah.
It tries to bamboozle you to think that Africa is just a little kid with a fly on their eye. No. Do they have that? Absolutely. And that's sad.
Right.
But that is not all it is. It is so much more. You have been deceived. You have been lied to. You don't know the truth. And I don't want you to know the truth. You know why? Because if you knew the truth, then you would do better.
Exactly. When you know that there's opportunities for you, you would aspire, you would try to attain it. And if you don't feel like there's nothing out there for you, then of course you won't do a thing. That's true. It's all
Look,
about visuals. Yeah.
they talk about what? How can I do this? The caged elephant.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you put a chain on this elephant, it won't go nowhere. We have mental chains.
Yep.
We have PTSD from slavery, right? And rightfully so. But yet, the biggest enemy that we have is the one between our ears.
Mm-hmm.
Your enemy is your enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when your enemy loses hope, faith, belief, and strength, then we can never change anything. But look how far we've came as Black people. We weren't able to read, write, and do. But look where we are now. Look what we've accomplished today.
We weren't able to do that stuff in America. We weren't able to read and write in America because they took us from somewhere else. But we were able. We were, really educated.
Let me tell you something. This man, and I want all the listeners to hear this. Wherever you are in life and whatever you're doing in life, you are your ancestors' dream. I'm gonna say that one more time because I don't know if you heard me. You are your ancestors' dream. They dreamed to be able to do what you're doing. They dreamed to be able to drive a car, read, write, go to the movies, sit through COVID and all these different things. They dreamed of that. So the next time you want to complain, remember there's someone in the graveyard that wish they was alive to have your type of problems.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's true. I really, enjoy your story, and I enjoy, hearing how you were able to take something that was really traumatic. Because even when we follow the story of this officer, he went on to the school, which ended up having a situation where he body slammed the girl. So this was another example of officers that get kind of shipped around instead of actually dealing with the problem, right? But for you got some good things come out of it. So I want you to talk about your book that you wrote. You have a movie coming out, correct? And then also you got to go on an HBO show. So I want you to talk about those three things.
Okay. As a matter of fact, I forgot about this though. You know how I found out that the little girl got beat up by the police? There's this guy who went to her school, and I did a photo shoot with him, a music video with him. And he was the guitar player, and he used to go to school with the little girl. He sent me the video. Immediately, I knew who the officer was.
Oh, wow.
I said, yo, I'm the soldier that this guy beat up. This happened to me. Next thing you know,
full circle. Wow.
Everything came full circle. So the owner of WIS' son lived in Burbank, maybe 5 minutes from where I live. He came over to my home and did an interview with me there. Then CNN got a hold of it. So next thing you know, they send out an interview. They fly me to New York to go see Jake Tapper. I do the interview with Jake Tapper. And that's how I got on Jake Tapper. And now I'm in New York in the midst of the rain. I'm like, yo, I need to find a celebrity. Let me find Diddy. Let me find 50. Let me find someone who can help me get this word out so we can protect our people, right? So I'm running around. I found no one. Right? And so I'm struggling and I'm mad and I'm frustrated and I'm ready to go home. And my friend from Xbox, his name is Cameron Grant, he said, have you tried the radio station? Yo, oh, no. So I wind up going to Hot 97. And I'm like, knowing everything's going to work out now, right? I get to Hot 97. We don't know you. We're not letting you in. And it was closing time. So everybody was leaving, going home. I'm like, man, God, it's raining. I ain't got no money now. I'm ready to go home, right? Because they had me staying at the Empire Hotel. So he said, I'll go back one more time. There was this guy named Melvin. He was outside and he was talking about DJ Envy, Nessa, and everybody else that works upstairs. And they were talking about the little girl's case. And I'm like, yo, I'm the soldier who got beat up by the same cop who beat the little girl. And he was like, wait, no. I'm like, yo, here's my interview from Jake Tapper on scene. Yo, that's you? I'm like, yeah. So guess what? He tried to get me in. He couldn't get me in.
Couldn't get you in either. Yeah,
so he ran upstairs and he got Nessa. Nessa got me in because she just got done doing a radio show about the little girl. So that's how I wound up doing the interview with Nessa on Hot 97. 10 minutes later, I did an interview with Nessa. Thank God for Nessa, her and Cap. You know what I'm saying? They truly blessed me. I was able to tell my story on Hot 97. And then I did 2 more interviews on WLBS and another radio station that was there. So that's how, you wind up seeing all those other interviews.
Wow.
Yeah, great.
Wow.
So I had to throw that in there. I forgot about that.
No, yeah. Yeah, people being in the right place at the right time. That guy standing out there while you were trying to get in, help kind of get that moving. So tell me how your book was birthed.
Okay, so I didn't think nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. I had always wanted to write a book or whatever else. But I remember the young lady, Miss Myrna Grant, white lady, who blessed me, just like, you need to give birth to it. And so my girlfriend, Ashley, she got on my behind. Ashley Aguilar, she got on my behind, and she was like, look, you need to make this happen. Get off of Xbox. That ain't it. You have a story that needs to be told. Look what's happening to your people. You need to do it. So I started writing. So I got a voice recorder. The same way we're talking, I had someone interview.
Okay.
I just spoke into it, right? And then I started interviewing my childhood, interviewing all these different things. And I took the interviews, and then I got it transcoded or whatever else. And this is how I formulated to create a book.
Okay. Okay.
So I did all the dictating. I did all the interviews. I wrote all my stuff down. And then I went through, edited it, put the book together, and we have the book today.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
tell everybody the name of your book.
My name of my book is A War on Friendly Grounds. So if you look at it, it's called, I'm sorry, my bad, right there we go. A War on Friendly Grounds. I highlighted the red and the friendly because I think that's the biggest lie about it. You know what I mean? America's supposed to be friendly. It's not. It's a war over here, but they want us to fight somewhere else. But we fighting here where we live. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's crazy. They're talking about possibly doing a special training for Black soldiers on how to conduct themselves with the police. I'm like, what?
I heard about that. Mm-hmm.
What? Do you hear yourself and how crazy it is? So you want to train Black soldiers how to conduct themselves with the police, but you want to send Black soldiers to a whole nother country to fight people they don't know. But we got to be trained on how to wake up and be Black?
Right.
We got to be trained on how to be human here in America?
And that's still not making the police have any accountability. And that's the part that's frustrating. When I read about that, I was a little frustrated because I said, we're still not holding everybody accountable in this situation. So
it's a Black problem.
Yeah. So your book, A War on Friendly Grounds, they can get that. You have a website or?
Yes, ma'am. You can go to awaronfriendlygrounds.com. Or you can go on Amazon and purchase it. And the one thing I want you to notice is I did use the flag colors in the book, but the stars are actually bullet holes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the stars are actually bullet holes, and I chose that because I feel like that's the new hanging. So back in the day when we were being killed, we were killed on public display, we were burned at the stake, or we were hung in front of public display. And now in 2020, we're being shot on and it's going on social media for public display. For people to do things like the George Floyd challenge. Really? Wow. You know how disrespectful that is?
I know. I'm so tired of seeing Black bodies, advertised on the media. And, when people share stories and videos of literal deaths and murders, it's just kind of disheartening. And it desensitizes people to where we all become kind of okay with it in a sense where it becomes normal. Yeah.
And that's what they've discovered. If this continues to happen over and over again, no one will care. Yeah. Until it hits home. See, my problem is it doesn't have to be your family member for you to have to care. You know what I mean? What happens if we're all loving each other,
For sure.
And most people have to understand this. Like, if you see a building on fire, right? You feel bad for the people in the building. But what you have to understand is the people inside the building, it's a total different experience for them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you have a movie. When is your movie coming out?
The movie comes out next month. I'm going to be putting it in film festivals. It'll do a film festival run. It's a short film about a war on friendly grounds and what happened to me that day. And I will be pitching it for a feature film about the journey of my life. I mean, it's pretty crazy to go through what I went through. Not saying that what I went through is any more special than anyone else.
Yeah, but it's your story.
Yeah, just being humble, but to be able to survive that situation, I feel like I'm honoring all my brothers and sisters who didn't get a chance to do that. And I feel like it's my way of being able to speak for the voiceless, and it's my way to fight back. This is my rage. Because if I go hit someone, or if I go shoot someone, or if I go get a gun, that only lasts a moment. But if I create a book and I create a movie, it's something that lasts forever. And it's
Sure.
my staple that I can pass down to my children, my two boys or whatever else, you know what I'm saying, that they can see that daddy was fighting to make a difference.
Yeah, and advocacy looks different. You know, it has different looks. So this is a part of advocacy. You know, and especially using our artistic expression through. You know, people make musicals to kind of retell stories or write books. You know, plays, movies. So yeah, this is awesome. I mean, we all have a story, and it inspires somebody else to see that, oh, it wasn't just me, or maybe this is how I turn my life around. You know, he did it. So and I'm sure it's a lot of soldiers who have some of these same experiences where they thought that once they put that uniform on and took that oath, that they would be treated with a little bit more respect because they made that sacrifice, and then they, you know, get to realize that it's still the same, and it's unfortunate. You know, so you are currently on an HBO show. Are you still on there right now, or tell me a little bit about that?
I got to be on HBO Baller. So I went from, and this is just God, y'all. This is just for me. You can call them whatever you want to call them. For me, to go from wrongfully facing 10 years in jail to being able to book HBO Ballers, I'm speechless.
If you yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just really excited for you.
No, you're totally fine. So I decided to move to California to become an actor.
Okay.
You know, I can afford my whole life, so I might as well get paid for it. When I first went, I went to John Casablanca. I was an outgoing person, you know, being very talkative, being able to communicate or whatever else. So I booked the Bank of America commercial with Colin Kaepernick, and it aired during the Super Bowl, World Series, NBA championship, and I automatically became a SAG actor. I had an audition in San Diego, so we drove down to San Diego. I met Mr. Mosley from the TV show My Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So Mr. Mosley was hosting it, and we got a commercial. And I was like, what can I do to stand out, to be different? So I'm dressed in all my all white. I'm trying to be fly and everything, right? So I run out, and I run to the store, and I grab a Pepsi. And then I run back in, and I got my motorcycle helmet, and I run into the audition. How you doing, Mr. Mosley? My name is King Jacquel Martin. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm excited just to be in your presence. Thank you for paving the way for young gentlemen like me. He says, thank you, no problem. Let's see the commercial. So I do the commercial. What makes you cool? It's your attitude. It's not what you wear. Take off my motorcycle jacket. It's not your haircut. It's not what you do. Or is it? And I pull out the soda. I forgot that I was running. And so I opened up the soda, and it just exploded all over me in front of me. So I had soda all over my white outfit and stuff. He started cracking up, and I was like, I guess I was just happy to see you. He was like, oh, that's funny. You know, so he told me to move to LA. I moved to LA. When I got to LA, I sent out like 100 headshots and resumes. You know, that's how I got an agent so fast. And then I wanted to work with this young lady named Terry Snell. She is the auntie from Home Alone. She told me no. I went to acting school because I was green. It took me a whole year, and I came back to Terry Snell, said I'm ready. I showed her my demo reel. She's like, oh my God. And so I wound up getting my manager. So she told me no. It took a whole year for me to get her. I was with the Brogan agency. I auditioned for Ballers. So I go into Ballers audition, and the lady wanted me to rap. I'm like, rap? I'm going to be rapping on Ballers? I'm no rapper, but, you know, I'll spit some bars, you know what I'm saying? So I get in there, I start spitting bars or whatever else, and then I go into the acting scene. So I wound up doing.
Why did she want you to rap? What was that for?
You'll see the joke. You're gonna see the joke, right?
Okay.
So I started going to the New York Film Academy. My friend Jeff, who played Tupac in the Death Row Chronicles, we were doing a movie together, and he said he's going to film school for writing. I'm like, well, shoot, I just wrote a book. I can go to film school too. I'm gonna write too, right? Because he was a former military soldier. So we go to NYFA. We sign up for film school, and we signed up for the screenwriting program, and then they told me how much I had to write. Nope, that ain't my program.
Okay.
So I went into directing, you know what I mean? And so this is how I started making movies and everything else. So I haven't been auditioning for a while, right? Because I've been focused on school. And my film, Evolution Slavery, actually won Best Short at the International Equality Film Festival by Wanye Leonard. I'll send you that film, right?
Yeah,
so I'm like, things are going good. So I get a call from my manager. And my manager was like, King, are you going to be free at 3:00? I need to speak with you, and the agent is going to be on the phone at the same time. I said, all right, cool. They're finna let me go, bro. I'm gonna have to go get a new manager. I'm gonna have to go get a new agent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't been making these people no money. You know what I'm saying? And they're talented. They book some of the biggest talent, right? I said, they finna let me go. So when she called, she said, hey, how are you doing, King? Have you heard the news yet? I said, no, ma'am, I haven't heard anything. What are you talking about? She says, I want to let you know you book ballers. I said, I'm fired. She said, what? I said, so you guys are gonna let me go? No problem. I understand. She said, King, you're not listening. I said, you book ballers. What? Oh,
right.
No! Let's go, baby! Right?
Yes.
So they all laughing and cracking up, right? So when I get the ballers, I'm like, man, I'm finna really rap on HBO. I get the script, ain't no rapping in there. What she meant by rapping was trying to holler at a girl in the club.
Oh, she was saying rap like the old school rap. Okay, yeah, that's hilarious.
In the audition lady messed it up, and the audition had me actually rapping in the audition and then going into the line. But when I got
hilarious.
Sad, you know, it was a young lady that I just had to come over and talk to, acting like it was horrible. You know what I'm saying? So I started cracking up. So I wound up doing it. I met Kassan Teague. So many. You know why Ballers Aspire? Is because
I only watched season 1.
It's okay. It's so many professionals doing what they love for all the right reasons. Okay. And season 4, episode 10, I call it the Colin Kaepernick episode because it talks about Ballers is one of the top shows on HBO already, and they tackled the issue that we're talking about right now, right? Mm-hmm. So when the director of Ballers found out who I was, he was like, "Oh my God, I want to talk to you." So he brings me over, and I tell him my story, and I thank him for season 4, episode 10, because I felt like no one in Hollywood would want to ever tackle that issue. But for you to address that issue the way you addressed it, I'm so humbly grateful. Do you know I had a book signing on Ballers? Oh, wow. Wow. I had books in the car. They wanted the books. Came back. I was signing books and handing out books on set. It was just look at God. I love stories like this because and that's why I wanted you to talk about that. And it's not about bragging or anything like that. It's about showing how when life sometimes throws you these hard punches, how your life can be turned around based on that. And some light can come out of that darkness, and you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing forward. And I mean, and who would have thought that instance, as traumatic as it was, would have helped usher in so many great things. And that's a beautiful thing, and that definitely can keep people encouraged. And as we talked about earlier, have hope that yes, things come. We all have things that happen to us, but it's about mindset, it's about drive, and it's about turning this into something more beautiful. So wow, that's amazing. Watch this. Mind you, this, when I got to LA, guess what I worked? Security. Guess where I worked at security at? Fox Studios. Guess where they shot Ballers at? Fox Studios. So I used to be the security guard at Fox Studios working there, and then I booked the job on Ballers. So when I was on set, I had my own trailer. So the same people that I did security with were the same people that I got to go encourage and be like, bro, I'm no different than you. You can get a trailer just like me if you just go after your dream, if you just go for it. So it was amazing for them to see me doing the same thing that they were doing as far as security, and then walking on and having my own trailer, and they doing security for me. It was nothing but God, Yeah, and I just, like I said, I love stories like that because again, that inspires, and you were an inspiration to the people that, like you said, you were working beside them, and you still working beside them in a different way. You had evolved, but you were able to kind of let them know, like, look, it doesn't have to stop here, and that's where. As we talked about earlier, as a mindset, as a people, we have to understand that it doesn't have to stop here. Yes, we know history. Yes, we know how history is still present day. Basically, it's just kind of shape shifted. That's what I call it, where it just looks a little bit differently, but it's still the same systems in place. But we don't have to stay there. We don't have to stop there. We don't have to accept it as the norm, if we don't want to. So. It blessed me so much. I just started this. I don't know if you can see this, but this is going to wind up being my production company. It's called Look at the What is it? I'm messing it all up right now. I can't aim this camera. Lord Jesus. It's called Look in the Mirror Productions. Let me just put it there. Look in the Mirror Productions. Okay. There we go. Okay. There it is right there. There we go. And I did that because all the films that I want to create films where people have to question themselves, their morals, and how they can look at life differently. So I feel like God gave me that. You know, I can't change anyone's life, but if I can just get you to look in the mirror for yourself and yourself,
Yes.
then we all can make change together. Like this guy, one of my friends, Mr. Bernie Durham from CEO Space, just passed away, and in his funeral, Dr. Frazee said this quote. He says, "You're born looking like your parents, but you die looking like your choices."
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. Oh, wow. This was great. I appreciate you for coming on, Carlos. This was a great conversation. You know, it's so much in this that is just, you know, sad in some parts, but also just awesome in others, you know, and that's how life is. Sometimes things are not always pleasant. But again, it's a mindset. It's about how do you want to help this evolve and actually benefit your life? You know, the things that we go through, we can turn them around. And you're showing that right now. So I encourage people to support the show, look at Ballers, watch Ballers. I guess I have to catch up on
I'm in season 5, episode 5. Season 5, episode 5.
Okay, I have to catch up and watch. Like I said, me and my husband was watching it, and we stopped after season 1 and have not because we got rid of our cable, so that's why. So you know,
I don't got cable. I be streaming Netflix, Hulu. I'm good.
Yes, we got rid of cable. So, but no, I want people to support you, support your book, your movie. I pray that everything goes well with your movie pitch. You know, just keep doing the work that you're doing. We appreciate you, and you know, just take care. And again, I appreciate you for taking the time to come on with us today at the Breaking Bread Village and telling your story.
Well, you guys can find me on my social media platforms. King Jaquel Martin. That's KingJaquuell Martin Martin. And if I can leave you guys with anything, I leave this after every interview that God always gives me. If you died today, would you get an A+ on life's report card? And only you know the question to that answer. But if not, and you're blessed to see tomorrow, you better live like it's extra credit because tomorrow's not promised.
That's true. Well, on that note, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I wish you the best. Thanks for sharing your story and just showing how what you went through, 10, 15 years ago is still relevant today. And we have to still, you know, keep on with this fight. So again, thank you so much. And I wish you a great evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to be on your amazing platform. You guys, make sure you guys always tune in and support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, take care. Bye. Wow, that was another great interview. I'm so thankful that he was able to come on with us tonight. Great story. Gave us a lot of hope, a lot of inspiration, which is so important, especially today. You know, we all have some hard times that come, but it's about how we just kind of keep pushing forward. We don't have to stop there. Nobody else gets to determine our end, only us. So again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight to the Breaking Bread Village. And I thank our guest again, Carlos Martin. Please support, get the book, read about it. We have to help each other out, encourage each other. It takes a village. You guys know I say that. So, all right, take care. You guys have a great night. Bye.